Okay. Okay. So what I did was I asked your aunties what if they had
Uh-huh.
any questions too, and they were like, one of the questions actually I have is about
Hmm.
sweating.
Right.
Like I don't feel like I sweat, and is it possible that that could be like a problem if you don't sweat?
I mean, not necessarily a problem, but we have what we call different glands, like sebaceous glands and other types of glands that contribute to uh, your sweat output and stuff like that. And if you have, like clogged pores or just different factors that go into, how much you perspire, and it's genetics as well. You know what I mean? Like it's not just uh, this person sweats a lot or this person doesn't. It's like genetics plays a factor. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on the climate that you're at because I honestly feel like I didn't sweat for the longest time. I'm like, man, I just never noticed that I like sweat a lot. But like when I got in different climates, when I got in more humid climates, I sweated more. Um, when I got into, you know, like heavy sports and stuff, I noticed that I sweated more. But like when I'm just like doing brisk walks or like stuff that's not very intensive, or even just lifting weights, I didn't sweat that much until I really got like my heart rate going and I'm really moving a lot. And those other factors kind of played the big part into um, how much I sweat.
Okay, so I think it just might be the fact that I'm not being as active as you probably should in order to sweat, right?
Yeah, like I said, all of those play a factor because if you think about it, unless you're sitting in a sauna or you're sitting in a place where it's really, really humid, if you're not doing nothing, you're not gonna be sweating. Or if you're doing very minimal, you're not gonna be sweating. Like if the temperature isn't high where you're at, and the body doesn't feel the need to cool it down, you won't sweat.
Okay. Okay. So that was for me.
Hmm.
We want to know is how do we give ourselves some self determination? Like it's like working out is not easy. So how do
Hmm.
you like get to like where you are? How did you get to where you are?
Right. So I think it was my environment played probably the biggest part. You notice like football players or like athletes and their kids when they're before they're even able to talk, they're exposed to a certain sport or they're exposed to a certain stimulus. They're around something for so long, it becomes a part of who they are. I would play. We obviously, I've been playing football since I was a youngster. Always being around sports, always liking sports. Everybody I knew played or was kind of at least physically active, and that kind of shaped my environment. Um, so in that same respect, I could have went either way. I could have said, I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna go a different route, or I could be, all right. You know what? I know this is healthy. I know it's good, and I've been around it my whole life. Let's continue it on and see how it goes. So little factors that play a role into it, but in reality, determination is all mental. Like consistency is mental. Keeping up with programs, keeping up with whatever it is that you're doing is mental because nobody can control that besides you. I can't. Nobody. A coach can't teach determination. The coach can't teach, consistency. They can reiterate all the time, but like if you don't give the effort yourself as the person who's training, it just won't work. Nothing a coach can do can teach a person to put the work in and give the intensity that's required. So I feel like intrinsically motivated. So you have to understand and you have to be driven within. There's whether it's the process or the end goal. Not everybody loves the process, but the process is pretty much, the what you see the most because it's not like you go from 300 pounds to 180 pounds in a blink of an eye. It takes a process. So you should try to get in love with the process. Like make whatever it is that you're doing fun, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's like you say, you got them little hand weights now, lifting, walking with those, trying different stuff. Nuance is pretty much going to be the best thing that a person can do if they're not really interested in weights, or if they get bored or whatever. Switch it up, make stuff new. For a person like me, doing kind of similar things or kind of consistent things is better for me because I can kind of test to see where I was before and after. So kind of switching up a bunch of stuff for a person that's really experienced is going to be different than switching up things and kind of understanding and figuring out what do you like, what stimulus is, what exercises that you like and dislike. That it's kind of like the same, like a new relationship. You're coming into a new experience. Variety is the spice of life in a lot of aspects. So variety with exercises is just the same thing. So you just have to understand that it's a good. It's not like it's a bad thing because working out is 100% proven to be beneficial for everybody. So just understanding that basically should get you in the mode like, all right, I know working out and exercise, diet and exercise is a good thing. Let's try different things regarding it. And then you'll kind of understand like, okay, I can do this. And, just making sure that you're not diving into it. You put your foot in the water, test it out. Okay, cool. You put your whole leg in the water, test it out. All right, cool. Pretty soon you'll be Michael Phelps. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So does that kind of make sense?
It makes sense. It's a very like I've like at different stages in your life, you kind of feel like, um, okay, yes, I'm ready to do this. I've been in different stages where I really want to, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, and
A little bit.
I've been also told that I shouldn't use weights for, what my desired effect that I'm trying to get. So, what do you think about using weights?
You've been told that by a doctor that to not use weight.
No, no.
You've been told by who to not use weight?
Just somebody.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Never mind. Um, okay, so a lot of people, that's a very common misconception that, oh, I have a lot of fat around my arms. I want to get rid of this fat, but if I lift weights, I don't want to get that bigger. That's totally like false. Your arms will not get bigger in the sense they will look muscular. I mean, like manly or whatever it is that you think with a bad connotation on it. They will get more defined. They'll get toned. That the muscle will override the fat. That fat will burn. So it will give you a desired look using weights. And that's like one of the biggest misconceptions that women have that, oh, I don't want to look like those big
A man.
women that's in the gym and yeah, do like they're very manly. But you think about comparing yourselves to those women in like the CrossFit industry when they look manly because they've been doing that their whole life. They're dedicated to it and they work even twice as hard because they don't have as much testosterone as a man. So they have to work even harder to look like that. So you're not even in that category. So you won't look like them. You won't look manly because you're doing that. It's actually going to be beneficial because it can kind of help regulate your hormones, um, regulate your hormones and estrogen, testosterone. It kind of help regulate that when you do lift weights. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's been so proven, and research is like shifting towards instead of like medicine is shifting towards diet and exercise. A lot of research is shifting towards like with people with chronic diseases and stuff like that. Diet and exercise is like their prescription that doctors are giving out. So I mean, just understanding that in general, that like no matter what, you're gonna have to at some point take control of your diet and your exercise, and you know, you don't have to go all out. You don't have to be like a person whose life revolves around fitness, but it has to be a part of your life in some capacity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you should absolutely use weights. Obviously, you would have to know what's like safe or like a reasonable weight. So using weights is not gonna hurt you at all. especially if you're doing it the right way and you're not overworking or doing too heavy of weight. Anything resistive is going to be pretty beneficial. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of diets,
Hmm.
like how do you resist the temptation? Like I love chocolate. I love
Hmm.
it. I love it like I love
Right.
you. Like it's a true love of mine. Like if somebody put chocolate in front of me,
Why not? You said if anybody put chocolate in front of you, what?
I said I know I would eat it. I mean,
Right.
there'd be no desire.
And right. So this kind of brings up that something that's kind of funny because like at work, we get treated like all the time and people always bringing us food and stuff like that because that's just kind of how, the setting that I'm in, that's kind of just how it works. Um, so and all the time I get, oh, you're not gonna eat this or you're not gonna try this. I'm like, no, I'm all right. And sometimes people, they're like, well, what do you eat sweet? And I tell them that, oh, that's not sweet, this and this and that. I'm like, okay, like, so you just have to understand one, you, it's like a collective thing. People kind of they guilt shame you into not to like eating what they eat. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to feel left out, like they're making a bad choice. So they kind of signal you out, like you don't eat sweets. How dare you? You know what I
Right.
mean? So one, you have to get over that, and I've been over that for the past couple years, so it don't bother me. And then two, substitute. There's like healthier substitutes, and it's really about portion because no food technically is bad for you. It's about the portion of it. Like you think about the portion sizes, how they've grown over since like the 50s, how they've like almost doubled, tripled, whatever the number is. Like portion sizes have gone up, candy bars have gone up, size of your head. So and
Yeah.
that's just how the America is right now. So it's about portion sizes. If you can't resist it, eat smaller portions of it. Me, uh, um, I'm better at resisting it and you know I'm substituting it because like it's not like I don't eat sweets at all. I eat the granola bars or stuff with a little bit of sugar in it, but nothing crazy. And that's just what I prefer to do because it made me not feel good and it made me not look good. So I'm like,
Mm.
all right, let's change it up. So once
So
you
that
kind of
goes to
know
the self determination, right?
right, exactly. Once you kind of know that like how something makes you feel or how it makes you look and how it plays a part in your life and how it's like can be very destructive in your life, you're like, all right, if anything, if I can't get rid of it right now, let me just kind of back off of it or do smaller sizes until I can eventually get to not having it at all or completely substitute it with something very healthy, whatever the case is, you know what I mean? Because you do anything for too long, it's going to be a part of your life and it's going to be your habit and it's going to be hard to break a habit, especially if it's something bad. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, like I said, it's really just a mental thing. And whenever chocolate is in front of you or whatever, find alternatives. Like, uh, I mean, you can pretty much find anything, any alternative. You'd have to kind of look into what you like, but like I said, I do like granola bars and just stuff like that. Stuff that it still has chocolate in it, but I'm not eating that every day. I'm not doing it all the time, and I'm kind of watching what I eat and substitute and make sure I'm eating good stuff in between it. So it's just about balance, really. What you
Okay.
thinking, Lincoln?
Um, I'm thinking this is some good exercise that I'm doing. It's something
Hmm.
I think I started doing this before when you were here actually, and
Hmm.
it's really good for you and it really feels good. But it's just it's a total mind. It's just your mind. Your mind is just so strong, and it just plays such a big part in the choices that we make. And
Hmm.
I admire you for what you do as far as like you sitting on that bike for an hour is just amazing to me. And so the fact that you a part of the workout that you kind of give people too. It's like I know it's totally my mind. Like my mind has to get to where you kind of where you are. But
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it
I'm
doesn't come.
gonna
Oh,
do
it doesn't come overnight. And yeah, but I get what you're saying though. What were you saying?
I said, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I know. I was just thinking about this in church. Like, you know, when you given a second chance, it's like, why mess up that second chance? You know,
Yeah, definitely.
get your stuff together.
No, yeah, I already know. Like, it takes a little while to get there, and like I've been even struggling in my journey too, like doing stuff that um not very conducive to my health, like oh, eating something that's not technically a bad food, but it's not really good either, and just saying, all right, I'll be all right, you know. But so really, it's about really taking control of your life, being conscious about what you're doing. As long as you're aware of it and you know what it is that you're doing, just live with the consequences, good or bad. Like you know you actively eating some nonsense or eating some stuff that's not good for you, then hey, that's on you. But you just gotta understand the consequences and don't let it sneak up on you. Like, I can't believe this. I look like this now. I'm like, well, what have I been doing the past month, days, years, whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to come to terms with some of that sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I think I think you're in a good spot because, like you said, you have the right mindset. You know what it's gonna take in a sense, like you know that like sitting down, not doing nothing is not helping. The bad foods or unhealthy foods are not good. So it's like as long as you're aware of that type of stuff, like that's essentially the first step, being aware that there is a problem and then addressing the problem and attacking it. You know? Yeah.
Um,
Both good.
yeah. So I think back in '95, when they told me I was diabetic, and you know, you have to go through all these classes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get hit with that reality, but it's like accepting it and you saying attack it and like that goes back to the whole your whole mind frame. Like
Mm-hmm.
most people aren't ready to change up their life like you know like that, especially at such a
Right.
young age.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. I mean, you think about it, like, what are most people in their 20s doing? They're partying, drinking. And I'm
yeah.
not gonna sit here and say I'm a saint that I don't party or drink or haven't partying and drunk and stuff like that, because I did that. And fortunately enough, I haven't did it to the point to where it took over my life or it changed my life drastically. You know, it's like a experience type of thing and say, okay, I did that. Now let's move on from it and let's shape up, because if I want to have longevity, be here for a long time, doing stuff like that, eating horribly, bad sleeping habits, nutrition habits, stress, all of those play a factor. So it's about kind of reeling it in and, you know, taking control of your life and how you want to live it. Because at the end of the day, you get 24 hours in a day to do whatever it is that you want, because we're free. It's free. I put quotation marks in free. We're free to do whatever we want, right? So, and there's so many people that do things that's just not it.
Yeah,
I mean,
because that's choices. That's you know we make those choices.
we're not saints. I'm no saint, but I just know that when you get elated and happy when you think about certain things that have to do with fitness and wellness. That's how I knew I wanted to do this, because I was even talking to some clients and I was just telling them like, man, you don't even understand. Like sometimes I lose sleep over little stuff like how I'm gonna have this client do this exercise differently or this new exercise because they'll benefit from it. When you really feel good about that, when you get chills thinking about something like that, it's like, you know, it's real. You're not doing it just for a check, or you're not doing it just because, hey, I seen some people do this and that looks pretty cool. You're doing it because you know you can help somebody, and you know you're on a journey yourself, one, and two, it kind of makes you feel good to know that like you can contribute to, you know, something positive. Yep.
Okay, I think I got one more lap to do.
Okay. What else you got on the docket?
Huh?
So what else you got on the docket? Is that it?
Oh, I had thought about something, but it just left my brain.
It's all right. So I was thinking like with couples, like a lot of couples that I've seen or noticed, like maybe you got couples that like to do the same exact thing, and that's how they met and that's how they kind of do the thing. But you have couples that's kind of like opposites attract couples, like me and my girlfriend and you and dad. We kind of like opposites attract a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're on that opposites attract type of scale, you know, like fitness isn't her thing. You know, you guys have your own kind of different things, and sometimes the best type of support that you can get is a person that doesn't even understand fitness or health and wellness stuff like that. They don't understand it, but they know that it's helpful, and they push you, and they even say, hey, you know, if you do this, I'll do this, and it kind of builds a bond. Like if you and dad were to really commit, I'm sure both of you can just drop fat, getting the best shape of your lives if you guys really wanted to commit to it. Because having somebody there to like kind of build you up and hold you accountable is everything. I would be in such better shape if I had somebody to always hold me accountable ever since I got out of college, or really was in college from till now. I would be in way better shape if I did. But you know, I kind of like slacked off because I was like, I don't really care, or like didn't really have a person to like a gym person, or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So having somebody, and that's for me, and I'm very motivated. So imagine what it would be like for somebody that's not as motivated, but they kind of want it. That can be the step between, you know, getting the best physique of your life and being, you know, facing all types of morbidities and cardiovascular disease and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's something to
kind
think
of
about.
hard to do. That's kind of hard to do, to have two people like I want it right now. Adita and my sister wants it right now, and so it would be good if we could get together and want it together.
Absolutely.
But you know, everybody has their own like lifestyles and journeys that they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe
That's why it can
like,
be so hard.
yeah, like okay, so you know, everybody's journey starts when they get ready for it to start. You know,
Right.
so I can't want it for him, and he can't want it for me. So, but it would be great to have, you know, somebody that would be ready and willing to work with you.
Right. Definitely. I mean, the gratification of doing it on your own would be even better, but like you said, it would be, and like I said, it'd be very, very helpful to have somebody with you. But a lot of the times, like people who kind of have those same goals, they meet in the middle. They both met at the gym. They both kind of look the same. They both like the same exercises, and they just do it together. When you have
Yeah.
like family members that's different stages of their lives and stuff like that, and trying to get them together, like you said, work schedules, whatever the case may all factor into why you can't line up and do things together or whatever. Makes it harder to have that type of workout partner. But it, especially for novice lifters and people just getting into it, I think that's the most important thing, just making it fun. Because if you already don't really like it or don't understand it and it's not fun, you're not gonna touch it. Not
How
gonna
do you
think
make
about
it fun?
Like I said, variety, understanding that like exercises is not meant to hurt you or like just make you tired. It's meant to stimulate you. You get so much brain activation and stimulation just from doing exercising, like it's walking, like how you're doing now, walking. Now it don't even have to be very strenuous, especially not starting out. Once you start out, people see like great gains of like muscular strength, and they just like lift weights or do like higher intensity workouts twice a week. Twice a week for about 4 to 6 weeks, you'll see like great gains in like depending on the type of exercise you're doing, whether it's cardiovascular or muscular endurance or strength and stuff like that. You'll kind of see the differences. But starting out, like that's why people starting out have it so good. Once they step into it, that's prime time to really, focus in and do what it takes to get to that next step. Because the initial climb into fitness and health and wellness and stuff like that, like that's everything. That's what's gonna get you to where you want to be. But yeah, you got some weights on right now.
No. I did that the other day and I was like, that was intense. It was intense. And it was, like I said, it was only like 2 pounds on each.
Right. Yeah.
That meant that it was working. At first I didn't think it was working. Then when I got up the hill towards the house, I'm like, okay, this is working because I'm a little bit out of breath and I'm feeling it. So um yeah. Like I said, I was gonna put the ankle weights on too. And then I was told, no, don't do that. That's not a good idea. What you're trying to do is lose fat and weight. And I'm like, okay, but is it gonna hurt? The fact that I'm
No,
it's
gonna make your muscles work harder because it's adding outside force, which is beneficial.
Yeah.
Muscle strength and endurance is very beneficial because it's gonna take pressure off the joints and ligaments. The more muscles that you have, less fat you have is gonna just take weight off of your body, so less joint stress. So, no, whoever told you that, it's not informed. And
of course,
I guess, like I said, you have to just understand that when you're working out with weights or any resistive force, you have to properly introduce it. Start out light, get acclimated, and then progress. Once you get to the point of being elite level, then that's when you have to play with your intensities and go up and down and kind of make the body get more stimulated from a variety of exercises and intensities. But as a novice lifter or a novice person just getting into it, you just gotta do some type of workout. You have to do some type of movement. So, yeah.
really nice out here. It's not too warm so that I don't feel like I feel like I may have a little bit of sweat going on.
Mm-hmm.
but like I've never dripped sweat on my forehead.
Yeah, I
That's
don't sweat on my forehead unless I'm like really, really into a workout. Like it gotta be humid, it gotta be moving a lot. I don't sweat that much. And when I'm, like I said, when I'm not in certain situations, you got some people who just, I forgot the condition of it. It's hyperactive, like glandular, something like that. It's something where they sweat like at the blink of an eye, especially people who are a little bit heavier, because their body temperature rises quicker. So,
so okay.
yeah,
So I was thinking that the sweat allowed you to lose weight faster.
no,
I don't know why I
no.
thought that.
It just means that your body temperature is elevated. The body it uses sweat as a mechanism to cool off, because you cool off like about 20 times faster than you do when you're dry. So when you're wet, your body cools off. Like when you get out the shower and you stand in a room, it feels like super cold and super cool, because the more that you have like moisture on the outside of you, the faster or cooler your body gets. Brings down your core temperature. And people who have more visceral fat or fat around like organs and stuff like that, their core temperature is higher than a person who doesn't have a lot of fat, so they don't sweat as much. But like I said, it's case by case though, person by person. Some people just don't sweat a lot, some people do. And if you're not used to moving around a lot, your body's not ever gonna need to sweat that much.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Okay.
I got some more questions, but it's going to be for our next section.